Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, students, for joining us today for our job search presentation. We titled this presentation Unlocking Opportunities, Winning Approaches to Your Job Search. So we've got my amazing Career Center team and folks here who will be facilitating this amazing presentation for you. We're going to be talking about some important information as it relates to uh, awesome strategies for your job search. So if any of you are actively looking for work and employment opportunities and are actively working through the job search, we definitely have some great information for you today. So thank you so much for being with us. The way we want to start off today, we want to get going with introductions so you all know what members of the Career Center are here with you today. So I'll go ahead and get started, then I'll pass it off to our other Career Center professionals. My name is Courtney Carter. I'm one of the counselors here at RCC, and I wear a few hats. One of the hats I wear is as the Career Center coordinator. So that's the reason you see me in front of you today. I facilitate the work out of the Career Center and making sure we have the appropriate support services, the appropriate resources and systems to help support you all as you navigate your career journey. So we're excited to be here for you in that regard today and show you some great strategies as it relates to the job search. Another hat that I wear is I'm the Guided Pathways Coordinator here at RCC. So that's a framework that our community colleges in the state of California follow to help students go from enrollment here at the college, for them to be supported with holistic supports during their time here, and to support them leading into graduation. And then my other hat as a general career and technical education counselor. So, yeah, definitely a pleasure to have you all in the room with us today. You have some great information coming your way pretty soon here. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Anna for her introduction.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Anna Strasetta. I'm a professional expert and I work here at the Career Center as long also at the Transfer Center. What I do here at the Career Center is I support students with things like resume building, interview preparation, mock interviews, major exploration, and also assessment interpretation. So I'm really excited to be here because job searching sometimes is, really hard and difficult and can be overwhelming and confusing. But yeah, super happy to be here with everyone today. And I'll pass it over to Shay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nashaya Anderson. You can call me Shay. That is my nickname. I am the Educational Resource Advisor here in the Career Center. And I also help with resumes, cover letters, any form of job exploration or career exploration. And I also help with students who may not be aware of what major they want. That goes into more of our career exploration. And I can help give our informal assessments and also help guide you on how to get formal assessments. I also help students who are looking to get any sort of help with getting their classes scheduled just for 1 or 2 semesters. And I do help guide you with counseling. I'm very happy to be here with you all today. And please stop by in the Career Center and either talk to me, Anna, or Courtney whenever you need help. And I'll pass it over to Anna. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Shay. So I just wanted to get started with a quick question, and you can just answer this to yourself or down in the chat. But just I wanted to get a quick sense of where everyone's at. You can either type it in the chat or raise your hand if you're currently job searching, if you have already applied for jobs, or if you're feeling overwhelmed with all the process. So you can just go ahead and drop it in the chat. Or just raise your hand if you can relate to this. Sometimes we feel overwhelmed with these things. So my goal for today is to make this process feel more manageable and give you real strategies that you can actually use when you're going out in the job search. Perfect. So we'll start by talking about the RCC Career Center and the resources available to support you. And I do see in the chat that I have applied to jobs. Yeah. So good job. Yeah. So we're just getting started there. And then also looking for another job while being overwhelmed. Yeah, it can be a lot. So thank you. Thank you all for sharing. Hopefully you get some tips from for today and continue to apply and look. But yeah, so sorry, let's go back to the agenda. So we'll start by talking about the Career Center and the resources available to support you, because a lot of students don't realize how much help they already have access to, and it can help relieve some of that feeling of being overwhelmed, or even applying to the jobs that you actually want to work at, not just random jobs. We'll also go into the purpose of your employment search, or the YES framework, which is a framework that helps you understand how ready you are and where you can improve. Additionally, after that, we'll break down the 5 key areas of a successful job search, which include career direction, attitude, active job search, job search tools, and employer communications. So these 5 areas are really the foundation of everything we talk about today. And I want you to think of them as a checklist that you can use to evaluate yourself and where you feel you're at. So from there, we'll also talk about how to actually build your own strategy. So you're not just learning information, but also leaving with a plan that you can apply right away, whether it's making an appointment with one of us or tailoring your resume. So anything that can help you to really help you grow. And then finally, we'll share how you can stay connected with the Career Center and open it up for any questions you may have. And also, as we go through each section, I just want to be mindful and think about which areas you feel strongest in and which areas you would like to improve. Because again, growth does start to happen soon as you make those changes and you get some clarity. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to Shay.
Just before we get started, before we go into the strategies, I want to take a moment to really highlight the Career Center here at Riverside City College, because this is such an important resource that many students don't fully take advantage of. So the Career Center is really here to support you at every stage of your career journey, whether you're still exploring your major or you're just actively applying to jobs. One of the career exploration and planning side, we help students figure out what they want to do through things like career and major exploration, assessments, and one-on-one appointments. For example, I've worked with students who have came in feeling unsure about their dedication and just their sense of direction. And after taking an assessment or just having a conversation, they were able to walk away with a little bit more clarity just on their goals and what next steps they need to take. We also offer workshops, as we're doing one today, and tools like Eureka, which is a great assessment tool, and What Can I Do with This Major, which also helps students connect their interests with their career paths. One of our career readiness side and just job seeking support, we do help support with everything you need to actually apply and actually get hired at the jobs. This includes the resumes, the cover letter help, just the interview preparation and access to Handshake. For those of you who are unaware of what Handshake is, I always say that it's more of like a comparison between LinkedIn and Indeed, where you're able to have a profile set up, you're able to set up filters for different jobs that you're looking for, that you're interested in. They can have the ability to not only reach out to you, but you can reach out to them through Handshake. And I feel like it is a very reputable source compared to a lot of other job seeking sites. So if you're not on Handshake, I highly, highly advise you guys to go on Handshake, use your student email and your password to set up a login and just explore. And if you are having a hard time with that, please just come into the center. Someone that works at the center will help guide you through Handshake and how to navigate it properly. But it is our job board for students. The school partners with them. So I definitely think everyone should get on, and they'll have a really great time on there finding stuff. And a lot of students, just from the feedback that I've been getting, have been having a great time using Handshake. We also, let me not forget, we also have our career closet, which provides free professional clothing. And I think you can go about twice a semester and get different items. They have dress pants, shoes, belts, ties, dresses, skirts, you name it. The Career Center will get you ready to go. And that is ran by Miss Mario, and she's not here today. But if you see her, you guys are more than welcome to send her an email and ask her the times and the days so that she can make sure that she's prompt in getting you what you need. Because we know that showing up confidently sometimes starts with having the right resources. Overall, our goal is to make sure that you feel supported here as a student, prepared and confident as you move forward with your career. So if there's one thing that you can take away from this slide is that you don't have to figure everything out on your own. We are here to support and help. And I'm going to pass that back to you.
Thank you, Shay. So now that we've talked about all the support that you have here at RCC, I want to introduce the framework that helps make the job search process feel more structured and a little bit easier to navigate. And that's called your employment search, or YES. So YES. It's the purpose of YES is really to help you understand where you're at in your job search and what areas you can improve. Um, there are three main goals here. So the first one is to understand your job readiness. So recognize what you already have and what you might still need to work on, and working on those strengths to build that up. And then the second is to strengthen your job hunting skills, like applying, networking, and presenting yourself professionally. So whether it's by going to the career closet, and then third is to help you create a step-by-step strategy. So you're not just randomly applying for jobs, as I mentioned earlier, but actually being intentional with your time and your energy. And YES is also built on 5 different areas. So career direction, attitude, active job search, and job search tools, and additionally, and also employer communication, which we'll go over more in depth in the next few slides. From my personal experience working with students, most people aren't struggling in all 5 areas. It's usually just here or there, like 1 or 2 areas where students need most support in. So as we go through each one, just think about where you feel confident and where you might want to grow and get that support by coming either to the Career Center or to someone that can help you, because that's where you'll start seeing the biggest change. But yeah, we'll go ahead and go over to the next slide here, unless there's any questions in the chat.
All right, so let's talk about your employment search. So let's just get a closer look at the 5 areas that make up your employment search. Think of this as a self-check or reflection tool that you can use to guide you throughout your job search. So the first one is career direction. Do you know what kind of field you're interested in? Even if you're still exploring, having some sort of direction does help. And if you, again, are having issues with finding a direction on where you would want to go, that's where we come in at with the career exploration. Where we come in, we can either have a sit down conversation with you just to pick your brain to really see what, what your interests are, what you like, what you don't like, what is something that you've always wanted to do. Those are questions that we're asking. And then we also have different worksheets here in the Career Center that help put a lot of different things into perspective. So the next is attitude. Are you staying positive and motivated even when the process feels slow or discouraging? For that one, I have tons of students who come in and they're overly frustrated with the job search process. And it is a very tedious process. I'm not going to sit up here and tell everybody that this is something easy that you can just do and get out the way, because it is not, especially with the type of job market that we're in and just the way that the world is being presented right now. It's a lot of things that students or just anybody applying for a job right now may not understand. And the most important thing that you have to do is stay positive and motivated. You cannot sit up here and downplay yourself and beat yourself up, because what you're going to do is you're going to set the trajectory for yourself moving forward as if this is something that's going to be so hard to do, and you cannot. You have to keep moving forward. You have to keep staying positive, and you cannot give up, because the moment you give up, you're not going to see any results on the other side. Moving forward, the next we have is active job search. Are you consistently applying? Are you consistently networking? And are you putting yourself out there? Or are you just waiting for opportunities to come to you? I'm not saying that opportunities don't come, but the best thing that you can do for yourself is making sure that you are networking. Be kind to everybody you meet and make sure you smile with everybody you meet, because you never know what one person can do that can lead you to the next stage of your life. So making sure that you're not being afraid to talk to people. I have a lot of students who come in and they're very mouse talk. They don't want to speak up. They don't want to say anything, but having that mindset and just overall being that way, that does not help you in the job search. You have to be confident. You have to present yourself like you want it, and you have to be tenacious with this process. The next thing would be job search tools, which is another key area. This includes your resume, your cover letter, and even your LinkedIn profile or handshake if you have that set up. Are they ready? Are they updated and tailored? And just to make sure that them being ready to for you to apply for jobs. I'm sorry, these words are kicking my butt today. Sorry. But with that being said, have you taken the time to update your resume? Have you taken the time to update your cover letter? Those are things that you want to make sure that you get started on even before you start really analyzing and understanding what job market you want to be in, because your resume is going to be tailored to every single job that you apply to. You're not just going to have one resume that you're going to use for the entire time. It's going to be updated every time you apply. So you have to make sure you're up to date on that. And if you are utilizing LinkedIn or Handshake, making sure that your profile stays up to date as well. And lastly, just employer communication. This is about how you present yourself in interviews, emails, and conversations. Do you feel confident talking about your skills and experiences? This one is one of the most important ones because if you do have the opportunity to connect with an employer, the last thing you want to do is stumble over your words because you're super duper nervous. You want to be confident. You want to make sure that you're presenting yourself in a way that they can see, hey, this person knows what they want, they know what they're after, and I want to make sure that I connect with this person. So just from what I've seen working with students, when one of these areas are missing or are just underdeveloped, it can slow down their entire process. But the good news is once you identify where you need to grow, you can start making small changes that lead to seeing real results. So as we move forward, keep asking yourself, which one of these areas do I need to improve in? And passing it back to Anna.
So we'll go ahead and start off with the first area, which is career direction. So it's really about having clarity. I think Shay mentioned a lot of these areas, but just a little refresher is one of the biggest things that I've noticed with some students is that many people are applying for just a lot of different jobs, but they're not always sure what they actually want. So it's just like, oh, there's a job opening here, there's there. But being more clear and having a direction, it can make the process feeling frustrated or even discouraging. But career direction is about understanding yourself first. So knowing your strengths, as we mentioned, and what you're naturally good at and what you bring to the table. And it also involves clear career goals. So if you're not fully figured out yet, just having a general direction to guide your decisions, whether that's by coming in and making a appointment for a career assessment and then getting that assessment interpreted, seeing the different job roles that you can potentially go into. And if you need some guidance, always make an appointment with us. We're happy to happy to help you explore different majors. It's also important to think about understanding your job values. What actually matters to you in a job? Is it the time? Is it the schedule? Is it the pay? Because I know money is important. The environment, flexibility, growth within that company, or stability. And at the same time, you want to be researching these jobs and employers. So you're not just applying randomly, but you're understanding the roles and organizations that you're interested in. Do they align with your goals, with your values? What is their mission statement? What do they stand for? And all of this helps you build confidence in your background so you can talk about your experiences in a way that really highlights your strengths. For example, I work with students who were applying to everything and couldn't that they could find, but once we focused on these areas, they become more intentional and start feeling more confident in their job search. By narrowing it down, it becomes less overwhelming versus just having a bunch of jobs out there. So I encourage you to take like a few moments and reflect on a few things and think about what are your strengths, what do you enjoy, what are your values, and what kind of environment do you want to see yourself in? Do you want to work with the environment? Do you want to work with computers, students? Do you want to do something else? Do you want to work with food? So just really like what are your strengths and what do you want to work towards? Um, because there's so many paths, but narrowing it down can ultimately help you create a clearer goal and sense of direction. And also just note these down when you come in with this, I'm not really sure. Just let us know. It's okay not to know too. That's totally fine. And remember that your goals can change at any time. But again, having that general, idea can make a big difference and kind of calm that feeling of being overwhelmed. And again, if you're unsure, that's okay. Just, there's a bunch of tools out there, a bunch of tools here with us. You can, make that appointment. And, I encourage you to continue to move to building your self-awareness and clarity to what drives you to build that confidence.
Thank you, Anna. So now let's talk about something that doesn't always get enough attention during the job search process, and that's your attitude. Because the reality is, job searching isn't just about skills or qualifications. It's also about your mindset, and a positive mindset really does lead to a better outcome. So please know that with having a good attitude, that confidence that you carry, it matters. And I feel like a lot of students that come in, they lack a little bit of confidence, and understandably so. It happens because they don't, a lot of them don't have guidance, a lot of them just don't simply understand, and they just don't know. But that's when you outsource. So again, never be afraid to outsource to someone here in the career center that can, potentially help talk you through these situations. That's literally what we're here for. There are three key parts to this. It's perseverance, self-talk, and how you manage rejection, which is a big one. First, perseverance. Job searching can be slow, and it can oftentimes come with a lot of no's before you get a yes. I feel like I've been in situations just myself where I have applied to several different jobs, and I'm constantly getting no, 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 rejection after rejection after rejection. And it feels good to get that one yes, but you do have to go through the process of being told no, and you have to learn how to be okay with that no. I've worked with students who felt like giving up after just one application, and I'm telling them you can't do that, because what really makes the difference is you continuing to show up and applying yourself, following up, revising your resume, even when it feels bad to do so, or even if you get discouraged. That's the one thing you cannot let happen. You cannot give up. And in those small moments, consistent effort is what helps build momentum over time. Next is self-talk. The way you talk to yourself during this process, it really impacts your motivation and confidence. If your internal dialogue is negative, like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, or this is too hard, then guess what? It's going to be hard. If you tell yourself something is going to be hard, then it is going to be hard. And it can stop you in the process before you even begin. But when you shift that mindset and you shift that change, and you say things to yourself like, oh, I got this, I'm still learning, allowing yourself to have grace during the opportunity of you on your job search will definitely help you build resistance. Again, I think that's one of the biggest things that I myself have struggled with in the past, and what I see students struggle with now is you guys don't give yourself enough grace. You have to give yourself grace, because everything is not you doing something wrong. It's not that you're falling out of the pocket, or you just don't know. This is just the job market, and you cannot give up on yourself. So making sure that you're giving yourself some grace, you're giving yourself a few pats on the back and say, hey, I did what I could today. I'm going to wake up the next day and I'm going to try a little bit harder, and I'm going to do a little bit more. And that's really that helps build the momentum and helps keep you going. And then lastly, managing rejection. Rejection is a normal part of the process. It's not personal, and it's often about timing, fit, and experience. Instead of letting it discourage you, try to view it as feedback, and even ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Every experience is helping you get closer to the right opportunity. And again, if you ever feel stuck, please come to the Career Center, where we have tons of support. And I'll pass that back along to Anna.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and talk about active job search. So this is where everything starts to come together. I always like to start with this question. Are you treating your job search like a job? Are you committed? Do you have dedicated time to job search? So yeah, it's just also treating it like a job to find something that fits for you. Because one of the biggest differences I see when students who get results or those who feel stuck is consistency. So it's consistency from job searching, consistency in the job, and that dedication. So the first part is consistency and routine. Are you setting aside time each day or each week to focus on your job search? When can you set this time? So really just kind of checking yourself, right? Like, hey, how bad do I want this? How much work am I going to put into it? And it doesn't have to be hours or 30 or 60 minutes a day. It just depends on how much you want it. And a follow-up can make a big difference too. So I work with students who felt overwhelmed, but once they start creating a simple routine or even have a tracker to keep themselves organized, they start feeling a bit more in control and confident about their job search. And then the next part is networking. So networking is really important. A lot of people think job searching is just applying online, but many opportunities actually come from connection. So even sending an email, stopping in, this could be talking to one of your instructors or your classmates or coworkers, or even reaching out on LinkedIn. So just depending on what kind of platform you have. And then, for example, I've also seen students connect with are the RCC students or professors, and end up learning about opportunities that they wouldn't have found out otherwise. So just putting yourself out there, seeing what circle you have around you, and connecting with your small circle, and then expanding from there. And then lastly, follow up and initiative. So after you apply for an interview, following up is so important. Just a simple email can keep you on an employer's radar and show your professionalism. But also keep in mind, you don't want to apply and then that same day, reach out or just continue, sending them an email and blasting them with emails because they can also be busy. So just being mindful of that. And then something that I always remind students is, don't assume that no response means no. Again, they could just be busy. So employers are busy, and sometimes a follow-up can make a difference, just depending on what time frame you're reaching out to them. And if you didn't, get the position, even just asking for feedback to see how you can grow and what you can improve on for the next opportunity that comes along. I think Shay mentioned this too. So overall, just active job searching is about being consistent and building connections and taking that initiative to get support. Um, and then if you're not sure where to start, like also tools like Handshake can help you. They're a great way to get started. What is this position asking for? What do I need? What are the skills? Do I even want to work here? They're asking me to talk to people every day. Oh, I'm not really good at talking to people. Oh, maybe that's not something that'll fit. Maybe something more like working with the computer. So just really checking, the job posting and everything to find opportunities. And Handshake does give you local opportunities, so it's a great way to start. And then just those small actions can really lead to bigger results over time. So yeah, that's all for the active job search. I'll go ahead and pass it back over to Shay to talk about the tools.
Okay, now let's talk about your job search tools. This is all about preparation. When employers first see your application, your materials are your first impression. And I want everybody to know, my grandmother used to have a saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So always make sure that first impression is your best impression. You want to make sure that your resume is clear, it's targeted to the job that you're applying for, it looks professional, and most importantly, it is easy to understand. The first and most important tool, of course, is your resume. Your resume should always be tailored to the specific job that you are applying for. And yes, everybody, I'm sure, has a master resume. And if they don't, you can come in and we can help you create one. But if you have a master resume, the best thing that you can do is take that resume, use the job posting itself to help tailor your resume to that job posting. So that way, when you send it in, you're more than likely to get a better result versus using the typical resume that you would just use for any other job. Reason being is because we already know AI is a big issue that's running rampant. And it's not even necessarily an issue. It can help others and then it can also hinder others as well. But because a lot of HR companies are utilizing AI to help decipher on who's a great candidate and who isn't, the most important thing that you want to do is try to match up the language from the job posting itself with your resume so that you will have a better chance of AI not filtering you out. Because that's really all that's happening. I'm sure it's been plenty of times where you guys may have applied for several different jobs and you may have gotten an email the next day saying that, oh, we moved on with certain candidates. Reason being is because you're not having your resume match up with that job. And I'm not saying that is the case for everybody who is applying. However, but that is a big thing that you want to factor in, that, hey, these companies use AI. Let me make sure that I am using different ATS language from the job posting itself to replicate in my resume so that I can make it through the screening process, because that's really all that you're doing. I've worked with students who are submitting the same resume to every job and not hearing back. But once they made those small adjustments, they got a better outcome at a different company that they may have applied to. And making sure that you're adding on strong action verbs and making sure that it flows properly is what you want to make sure that your resume is amplifying. So it's not just about what you've done, it's also about how you present it. Your portfolio, if you have one, it should imply to your job field, like, or your field of choice that you're going into. This is especially helpful for creative people, tech, or projected based roles. It can include things like writing samples, project designs, or anything that shows your work. And having something online that you can easily share with employers can really set you apart from other people. And then, we have our cover letter. This is where you tell your story. Why are you applying to this company? Why this company? And why you're a good fit. It shouldn't just repeat the resume. So I want to make sure that people understand that when your cover letter and your resume, it's not, they go hand in hand, but you're not taking your resume and putting that into paragraph form. You're actually taking the time to set yourself apart on the cover letter. And it's just another way to pretty much tell the employer, the recruiter, whoever is looking at your information, why you are a good fit. And it should add a little bit more personality and more context to who you are. And I always tell students, even though it takes more time customizing your cover letter for each job, it does show that you have a genuine interest, which again can set you apart. And lastly, references. These are people who you can refer to the employers to speak with about your work ethic and skills and just your overall character. Make sure you ask for permission first, just so that different people are aware that you are utilizing their name when you are applying to different roles, just so they can be prepared when they're contacted. The last thing you want to do is put someone on there, even if you know them, you don't want to put them on there and then they get a phone call from McDonald's and they had no idea that somebody was even looking to call them. So just again, always connect with your references, but have a list of references. And overall, strong materials don't just happen overnight. It does take time, and you have to have intention behind it. And if you're unaware where to start or want feedback, this is exactly where you come to the Career Center so that we can support you with your resume and cover letter reviews. So right now, just take a moment to think, what's the one thing that you could improve on in your materials to help make you a stronger candidate? And while you're thinking about that, I'll go ahead and pass that back along to Amy. Thank you.
Okay, so now we will talk about employer communication. So this this is often your first impression, and sometimes even before your employer fully reviews your resume, whether it's through handshake, an email, an interview, or even a LinkedIn message, the way you present yourself shapes how your employer sees you. And like Shay mentioned, right, you only have one shot for that first impression. And strong communication shows professionalism, confidence, and respect. And those things really matter when you're looking for a job because it really sets you apart, can set you apart from others. We'll start with interviewing and networking. So this is a really big part of being prepared to answer common questions, like tell me about yourself or what are your strengths. I noticed that a lot of students have great experiences, but they struggle to talk about them with confidence. So coming in and setting up that appointment with us just to prep for that interview to see how we can tailor that to the job that you're applying for. So this is where something like what we use is the STAR method, so it can help you be able to clearly explain the situation you did and what you did and what that outcome was. This way, the employer knows, oh, yeah, if they come into a situation like this is what they would do. And even if you don't have that experience, always coming up with an answer of what you would be doing during that experience or that challenge. They just want to know that you can problem solve in that moment. And so you also want to be able to introduce yourself in about 30 seconds. So this is an elevator pitch. So something like, I think on here it says, "Hi, I'm a business major at RCC, interested in marketing and management, and I help lead a campus club, and I'm looking for an internship opportunity this summer." So really just letting them know like what you're about, why you're here, what your major is, and what you can contribute to the company. So you can also use this for like casual conversations, networking events, and even just unexpected opportunities, like we were mentioning earlier with professors, classmates, or even in an email. You can also send that too. So when it comes to professional language and presentation, we want to make sure that are your email messages and communication respectful and professional? As Shay mentioned earlier, putting down the name of the person who's hiring if it's available, or addressing it to someone, not just, hi, dear so and so, right? So not just like dear, like RCC. So we want to make sure that it's like hiring committee or the person that's hiring if you know who they are. So something as simple as even proofreading your email or resume. It shows that you're detail oriented. So that additionally shows something that it could be like one of your strengths. Using a clear subject line can make a big difference also. And also just thinking about how you present yourself in interviews or even career fairs. Like, are you showing up professionally, ready to work? Um, Dressing appropriately for the industry also shows that you're taking opportunity seriously. Again, like she mentioned earlier, we do have a career closet. If you're unsure or need some like clothes or dressing, shoes or anything, they are available at the career closet. And then don't forget about follow-up. So sending up that quick thank you email after an interview can be really important and also leave that strong impression. But overall, communication is a skill, and just like any other skill, you can improve it with practice the more you do it. So I encourage you all to practice in ways that like feel comfortable for you, whether it's typing it out, practicing with a friend, saying it out loud, or in the car. I know I do that a lot, so I'm always in the car. Like I don't even have an job application in, but I'm like, hey, if I were to land this job, what would they ask me? And then I just start talking to myself, and that helps me feel confident. Or even just recording myself and being like, hey, what is the interview looking when I'm sitting in that chair or, on that call? And then just seeing my cues and see what I can improve, and watching it back and noticing those details. And again, the more you practice, the more natural and confident it'll feel. And you'll start to gain that confidence, and it'll feel less overwhelming because you're coming prepared, right? These are the questions that most employers ask, right? Like, tell me about yourself, creating that timeline. That's one question that you can always practice wherever you're at and wherever you're going into. So I highly encourage you just practice, practice, practice to gain that confidence. Um, But yeah, if there's any questions, or maybe you can even put it in the chat of like something that you'll try to improve those job interview skills, right? Whether it's practicing in the car, recording yourself, practicing with maybe a sibling, a parent, a professor. So yeah, if you'd like to share, you can put it down in the chat. I know mine is practicing in the car. That's it. But I'll go ahead and pass it over to Shay, and we'll talk about how to build your strategy.
All right. So now that we've gone through all 5 areas, this is where it all comes together, which is building your strategy. Because at the end of the day, it starts with you. You don't need to fix everything at once. The goal is to take what you've reflected on and choose 1 or 2 things at a time to focus on. What I don't want you guys to do is think that you have to rush through this process. I know for some, it might be time is of the essence because you need a job and you need it right now. However, because we know that that is an unrealistic outlook, I want you guys to know that slow and steady does win the race. And when you take your time to reflect on the areas that you know that you need to focus on and make sure that you are not procrastinating on trying to adjust those areas, it can make a difference. So from my experience working with students, the ones who see the most progress are the ones who take small initiatives at a time instead of trying to do everything at once. And then when you try to do everything at once, you're bombarding yourself, you're overwhelming yourself with so many different tasks. And then next thing you know, you're giving up just because you're like, oh, wait, this is too much. This has gotten this is beginning to get on my nerves, and I hear it all the time. So again, take your time, really analyze with yourself what areas of improvement that you need to work on so that you can start heading in that direction. Another example, if you challenge, I'll say this, if your challenge is career direction, maybe your next step is coming into the Career Center and asking us to set you up with a career assessment and reviewing it with our coordinator, Courtney. That's a great step to take, especially if you simply just don't know and you have no knowledge to yourself of like, okay, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I even want to do. That's a great place to start. Coming in, having us connect with him so that we can get you an assessment sent to you. You take it, you set up an appointment to meet with him, and you guys go over the assessment, and hopefully we can try to narrow down a few things of what it is that you want to do. If it's the attitude, maybe it's just joining a drop-in session with one of us, either me or Anna or Courtney, and finding out what ways and that you can stay motivated and support yourself, because like I said, this is a tedious process and you want to make sure that you are staying focused at all times, because any mishap, any slack, it can alter so many different things. If it's active job searching, maybe you set a goal like applying to 4 jobs this week and then following up with 2. Make sure that you are staying on it each and every time, because you want to make sure that you're showing the employers like, hey, I'm here to work, I'm here to serve my community, and I'm here to be of great service to those around me and as well as myself. If it's your job search tools, maybe you should focus on revising your resume, your cover letter, tailoring your LinkedIn profile, and even maybe updating your handshake if you already have one. And if it's your employer communication, maybe you should practice your elevator pitch. You can always come into the Career Center, and that's something that we are here to guide you on. And if you already have an elevator pitch, we are more than happy to do mock trials with you so that you can feel more confident in what you're doing. And if you don't want to do it with us, do it with a friend, do it with a family member, do it in the mirror. Another great way, I know Anna shared hers, I like recording myself and then listening back to myself. I think that's a big thing, because I don't know if anybody has listened to themselves on like video or anything, but I hate the way that I sound. So a great way to build on that is constantly, you can take your phone, set it up on a tripod, or if you don't have a tripod, set it up on your dresser, and you're literally recording yourself. watch it back a few times, rehearse it a few times, just so that you can have that pitch ready to go when it's time to speak with someone. So I really want you guys to just take the moment and think, what is one or two different actions that you can change realistically this week? Not this month. I mean, I'm sorry, not next month, not someday, not this week, but what can you do today? This matters because small, consistent actions are what creates momentum, and that momentum is what leads to different opportunities. So I'll go ahead and pass that back to Anna. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shay. I, really appreciate that you said just taking that one small step, right? Even just after today's workshop, just going to our career website, scheduling an appointment. Maybe you're unsure of what you need help with. Just set up an appointment. We can talk about it here and just kind of start figuring that out and working towards growth. Because again, that small step can take you so long. I remember being a student here at RCC and I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to be going into like even a bachelor's or a master's, but just taking that one small step and connecting with someone that really, cares about you and it wants to be here for you can make such a big difference. So, and that's what we're here for. We're here to support all students in all stages of life. But yeah, if you're ever feeling discouraged, just make an appointment. I'm not sure what I want to do. That's okay. I feel like I still don't even know what I want to do. So it's just life and, small support can help and create so much growth from those little steps. Again, this is our Career Center contact information. So we're located in the Kane Building, room 101. rcc.edu/career centers where you can make an appointment, look at our workshops, and then you can always email us at the career center at rcc.edu or just email us directly. Well, actually, I'll speak for myself because I know a lot of people are busy, so maybe doing that career center email is probably best. But just yeah, send us an email, make an appointment, come in, let us know what you need help with, this way we can get you set up for success. And always, I always encourage students to take advantage of these resources early, not just when you're struggling. Even if you're like, no, I got it, just stop in, have us take a look at your resume. Because even when you feel like, you know what, I have everything, maybe just that one thing on your resume can change your whole job search, or maybe just in your profile can make that big difference. So whether it's reviewing your resume, preparing for an interview, or just talking through your next steps, we're all here to support you. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. And, we're here to help you with your success. Yeah, and if there's any questions, I think I'll go ahead and leave that chat open and we can go to the next
Anna,
slide.
Anna and Shay, there was a question from Vanessa. Great question here. Uh, it relates to what you all were speaking of in regards to your job search materials, right? Your resume, cover letter, portfolio, references, and all of that. She asked, would you submit the resume, cover letter, portfolio, and references as one PDF or four PDFs? And also, is there an order that is best? So, did you all want to touch on that?
I think I'll speak for like myself and what I've seen. Typically they have different sections when you're submitting your resume. So if they're asking you for a cover letter, they're gonna have a specific place where you upload that. Or if they're asking just for a resume, they're gonna have that specific piece. From my experience, I wouldn't upload them all in one PDF because it's just going to be a long PDF. And maybe they're only looking for the cover letter and the first page is your resume and they're like, oh, they uploaded the wrong thing. I'm not going to take a look at that. And they can, but I'm just saying, like, as from my experience, employers are looking through so many resumes, so many cover letters, so many applications that you just want to submit what they're asking for, unless you personally speak to them and they're like, oh no, upload everything in one, then that's when you would do that. But yeah, that's just from my experience. Courtney or Shay, did you have something else?
Same. I haven't necessarily ran into many situations where an employer is requesting all at once. Normally, when you are just on the job application itself, it should ask for your resume, cover letter, and even with the reference sheet, I normally have not been asked for that until I've already had an interview and I've made it either past the first or the second interview. And once they are considering hiring me as, or I'm a candidate that they're considering, then they ask for a reference sheet. Now, if they ask you something upfront where you need to submit it, then have it ready and just make sure. And again, I'm sorry, talking to your references beforehand, letting them know like, hey, I'm currently on my job search right now. Is this okay if I use you as a reference? And in some jobs, they might require for your reference to write a letter, if not have their email ready to send them something to send out. So again, just make sure that your references are aware of the process of your job search. What part of the process are you in? And just always have it to the side, just ready. But a lot of this is just more so for preparation and making sure that you have it just in case it is needed. You may not even need all those documents, but I will say this, you're going to always need that resume. And for a lot of different jobs, you're going to always need that cover letter. So I know for those two, that's the most of what I've experienced. But no, it really just depends on a case by case situation. So don't think that you have to have everything set up for, you know, every job that you apply for, because they may not all be asking for that.
Yeah, thanks to you both. And the only thing I would add, and I just want to add and confirm what Shay said there. In most instances, most positions you're going to apply for is going to ask you for a resume. A cover letter, it depends on the type of role, the how what level of the role it is, right? If there's oversight, administrative, and all of that, it might ask you for a cover letter in those situations, right? So it usually depends on the cover letter. Portfolio definitely depends on the career path, right? And the profession and the industry. And education for us, Vanessa, it, we don't really get asked for a portfolio like in this profession, in my profession as a counselor, right? But I definitely have been asked for a resume. I definitely have been asked for a cover letter. And I also am asked to do a separate application outside of those two documents, right? And in that application is where they ask me to list my references, but then, just as Shay said, they'll ask me again for my list of references if I do get to the end of the interview process, right? So in most instances, you'll want to pay attention to the job posting, what they're asking you for. If they ask you for a resume and they leave you space for any other documents, that's an instance where you might want to consider submitting a cover letter as well, right? So it's not required, but it could make the difference between you and someone else if you did submit that, right? So even though it's not required, submitting it might give you an advantage. So just wanted to give you some insight, on our profession, just to give you an example, but also just some insight generally on what you might see in various situations. So hopefully that's helpful.
All right, and just moving on to our last slide, just to wrap up everything. If anybody has any questions, again, feel free to drop them in the chat if you have any, or when I'm done speaking, if I think you can unmute yourself if you want to add something. But I do want to leave you with this. You don't have to figure out everything right now. And guess what? You don't have to figure it out alone. We're here to help. We're here to help guide you on the process and make sure that we can assist with whatever that you need help with. Again, whether that is your resume, your cover letter, or even needing help with the mock interviewing because you've never done an interview before. If you need a career assessment because you don't know what direction you want to turn, just know coming to the Career Center and getting those things sorted out is what we are here to do. A lot of students I work with feel they need to have this perfect plan from jump. You don't. It doesn't need to be perfect. But you do need something to start with, and some clarity comes from action. So as long as you are trying and taking those small steps, whether that's updating your resume, applying for a job, or reaching out to somebody, you start building the confidence and momentum that way. So wherever you are in your journey right now, just focus on those next steps. And again, thank you all for coming coming here today and watching our presentation. I really appreciate it. I'm sure my colleagues do as well. And again, we're happy to answer any additional questions that you guys may have for the last few minutes.
And I just wanted to add, thank you all for joining. Even joining this workshop was already taking one step closer for growth and towards, your next step. So yeah, thank you everyone. We hope to see you here. We hope to see your names on our calendar for appointments. But yeah, if not, just drop in, see if maybe we can just answer a quick question, or maybe you're having a hard time setting up an appointment. We can help you with that too.
And I'll go ahead and put our appointment links in the chat to that section of our website, just so you all have that easily on hand. There it is. It's in the chat if you all want to click on that, and then you can just keep that on your browser if you do want to come and connect with us. That link takes you to the section of our website that shows our drop-in schedule, our virtual drop-in schedule, as well as the link to our Career Center appointments. So we definitely look forward to seeing you all in the center and working with you, okay? If we'll stay on just for a few more minutes, but if you're finished up and we answered all your questions, you're definitely free to go. And thanks again for joining us today.